I really appreciated your humility there, saying that you sometimes do feel weak. I think that's really important for a leader to say that, yeah, it is hard. But then part of that role that you have now is being in the public eye a lot more. And so I did a brief bit of research on you just to be prepared for today. But I saw you on Q&A on The Voice. I remember you being in the news with the same-sex marriage plebiscite. And what I appreciated about you is I think there is a non-anxious presence when people are coming at you for the things that you're talking about in terms of being from a secular point of view. So my question, I suppose, around that was, because I don't see you compromising anything on the gospel when you are actually speaking publicly. You're saying, I'm not...
Thanks, Joel.
You're basically,
I told you, people pray for me.
Yeah, but I see you saying, I'm not changing what I'm saying on this.
Yeah.
So my question, I suppose, is how can you help us, or how do you actually approach those situations so other people who are trying to talk to non-Christians about Jesus, and it's been such a theme around this particular episode of that when you became a Christian, you just wanted everyone to know about it. But you also need to approach it with a humility and a calmness. So how do you approach those public situations where the Sydney Morning Herald or someone calls you up and wants a comment from you, for example?
That's a great question, you know, I want to honour the Lord. I think Jesus is the Lord who loved us and gave himself for us, I want to be faithful to him, and so I ask people to pray I ask people to pray for wisdom and courage, and then I usually say, when I say courage, what I mean is that I wouldn't have the fear of humans, that I would have the fear of God. But you know, Jesus said, love your enemies as well as your neighbours. And we don't have anything to fear from the unbelieving world, because the worst they can do is put you to death. And death has been defeated.
And you're off to heaven.
And so I want to treasure Christ more than my own reputation or anything else. So you know, when I speak to the media, I want to tell them what the Bible says, why it says it, why it's trustworthy, and then, you know, they do the editing. But I just want to be faithful and consistent. It's not easy.
That's why I asked.
So I'm grateful for people's prayers, and there are people around me who kind of give me advice about how to approach those things.
I'm sure you pray beforehand too. Like that's another
of course, and usually during.
That's cool. And part of that research that I was saying was some of it made like to make an emphasis on you being the first non-European to take the role. And I suppose I have there's two questions, and I know I don't want to impact on your time too much, but I'm wondering, does that bother you? But also, what do you think that your different background has allowed God to work differently in your life? I would love to hear what you think about that.
Look, I think it's the case that, God uses us as we are, right? So God is constantly at work in all of our lives. He's given us experiences, relationships. We've lived through stuff. So this is the wonderful thing about a God who is personal and who invites us into a personal relationship. He doesn't expect me to be somebody else, but he's able to take what I am, which he made, and use it for the purposes that he's already decided upon. So So we ought all, as Christian people, to have a confidence that God knows us. This is one of the wonderful things that Jesus says in John 10. I know my sheep, and they know me. Yeah. We really know what God is like because we know Jesus, and he makes him known to us. And he really knows what we are like. The things that we barely admit to ourselves, he knows. Yeah. And that means that he's able to help us. He's able to give us what we need. And he's able to use us as we are because he's made us what we are. And he's able to make us into something more for his sake. And so the really important thing is to be confident about who Jesus is, what he says about who we are, and about our relationship with him. And I think that means that, so I'm the first non-European background person to be Archbishop, which might be, well, that gives me a bit of a platform because people say, oh, well, he's not your regular white guy, so let's talk to him. Yeah. I think that's probably worn off, actually. I mean, I think there was a bit of that at the beginning, but I'm not sure that it counts very much anymore. But it also means that I'm a migrant in Australia, and so I've got that kind of experience, a pretty privileged one, actually, but nevertheless. That's part of my experience too. That does mean that I can speak to migrant communities in Australia in a way which they respond to. I think people are people who've come to Australia more recently than me. They know that we have something in common. That my family also had to negotiate a new culture and not be, as it were, mainstream. In fact, a lot less mainstream now than if you come as a migrant now. Australia's a lot more multicultural in 2025 than it was in 1975. So God uses all of that. And, I'm sure there are particular avenues and opportunities that arise out of it. I'm good with that.
I think the Buddhism thing gives you a different perspective too.
Sure.
I think that would be,
for sure.
And I think it is an example of what you're saying is that God is going to use the people that he's made for his purpose.
Yeah.
Rather than us going, look, this guy was a bit different to us. I don't who cares?
Yeah.
But God's going to do it anyway.